Hey there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with another printmaking idea. Some of you folks told me you had a hard time finding the supplies to make the gelatin plate, or you had a hard time finding the rubber gasket that I showed you in another video. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make prints on something that I'm sure you all have at home. At least, even as careful as I try to be, I have this stuff all the time. It's a takeout box. So basically, let me flip it over and show you. See the little "Have a nice day" from a Chinese restaurant? So when I got my takeout the other night, I had this styrofoam box left over, so instead of pitching it in the trash, because they don't recycle it around here, I washed it and I cut out a nice flat piece. And sometimes you get takeout boxes or meat trays or veggie trays, and they have lots of nice flat area, and that is so wonderful. So save that because you can make some really, really awesome prints. So here I'm just spraying out some acrylic paint, and I am using nice bright rainbow colors here, so I'll get a nice blend in the middle. My brayer's not quite wide enough to go over the whole thing, so I'm going to get a little more blending, but I'm not worried about that. The first thing I want to show you how to do is how to make just some kind of cool marbly design pattern here. So I'm just kind of taking my little homemade tools that I learned how to make from Marianne at a Scrappy Sticky Inky Mess. She also has a YouTube channel and it's really cool. And then I think I'll take some foam stamps, because foam stamps are fabulous with acrylic paint. And I just set them down here. I know they're right here. Here they are. And I am just going to stamp some designs with my foam stamp. Get a little wiggle there to make sure I pick up the ink. And then maybe just a little bit of checkerboard over here. And the paint doesn't dry too quickly on this, which is nice. I press a little bubble wrap in here as well if I want. So I probably wouldn't do all these techniques on one piece, but I just wanted to give you an idea and not have a terribly long video. Now I'm using leftover letterhead for my printing paper, and the cool thing is that it's like 25% cotton. It's an acid-free paper, and it was a giveaway, so it was free. I kept it out of a landfill, and I was able to use it for my printmaking. So there's my first print. It'd be really cool on the back of a card or scrapbook page or whatever. I'm going to see if I have enough ink left here to do something else. So let me just roll that right out again. I think I probably have enough. Maybe I'll put a little bit more on just to be safe. Any acrylic paint works for this. I'm running low on the bottles of craft paint because I tend to use the artist quality paint a little more often. But absolutely use a 3 for $1 craft acrylic paint from the craft store. That'll work just fine. It is 3 for $1 at AC Moore. I was just there getting a picture frame. I'm going to brayer that out. It's muddying the color a little bit, but giving it a nice natural look. And then I'm going to use a stencil. I'm going to try this stencil. I'll make it so it's right side up for you. And so I'm going to have a throwaway piece here. So what I'm going to do is just press that down here just to get some of the ink off. This part isn't going to look that great, so I just did that on some old letterhead. Now when I peel this back, I'll have a really cool impression, I think, that I can print on a fresh sheet of paper. And I'm just using my hands as the brayer to smooth it down here. So you don't need a press or anything, it's just printing on your craft table. And here you get a really cool design, and since there was some texture on the other side, you could see that circle from "Have a nice day" coming out the front, but still you get a really cool effect. It will work better if you have a nice flat piece of styrofoam, but I'm actually doing this in a class for kids later this week, so I'm saving all my really good styrofoam for them, and I'm using the crappy one just for this video because I want to make sure I have enough really good styrofoam for my students. But again, I'm just putting out the ink, and the nice thing about using primary colors is that they're not going to get too muddy. Even if they mix in a little bit, they'll get more rainbowy than truly muddy, which is nice. Alright, why don't we do a couple techniques here. Why don't we go in with some of our little decorative edge shapers. And then let's just pull that and show you what that looks like. Just a cool background there. And then, let's brayer that right back out again. Hopefully we have enough ink on there to try a couple other things. Let's go in with some foam stamps. Give a little twist to really pull that ink off. Let's see what that looks like. You could use rubber stamps too, but just make sure that if you do, you clean them out really well afterwards so that acrylic paint doesn't settle in on the delicate lines of the stamps. This looks like outer space to me. It's just kind of fun. So, you know, use your imagination, use a good piece of styrofoam, and you can really do some cool stuff. Now, another cool thing that you can do with a styrofoam is to make a custom stamp. So I'm going to set this out of the way, and I'm just going to zoom in on that piece of styrofoam. And all you need is a pencil or a ballpoint pen or a stylus or whatever you have. I think, I'll use one of these pens. Let's see if this one works. I can draw like, can you see, there we go, yeah, that's in frame. I'm just going to draw a heart. It doesn't matter if your pen has any ink in it or not, because basically what you're doing is depressing the surface. I can give my heart some wings. Just whatever comes to mind, just doodling here. It's just styrofoam. It's probably going to end up in the trash, so you've given it a little more life. Now, if I want to spell a word, I've got to spell it backwards. So if I want to put the word love, I can do that. Make it a little fancy. And then let's try inking that up and seeing how it stamps. I think I got my fingernails on there, so I might have a little fingernail mark, a little fingernail gouge, but you could see how fun this is. And I just hate to be throwing stuff away, this stuff that I can't recycle. It's really a bummer, so it's nice to know that I can use this for art. So I'm just going to ink over that with my brayer. You can use a paintbrush, actually. That would work just as well. And then let's see how that turned out. Look at that. Custom stamp. Isn't that cool? Alright, I do want to try one more thing on the big plate. I just had an idea. I had a brainstorm. Hope it works. There's nothing more embarrassing than having a brainstorm that doesn't work when you actually go to do it. But I want to try to do a little bit of painting on here. So what I'm going to do is, again, squeeze out my paint. Try to go a little light-handed on it so that I don't, so I can kind of alter it a little bit after. My yellow. I'm very brave. I'm wearing one of my favorite sundresses here while I'm doing this, hoping that I don't get paint on me. It was funny. I was doing the tutorial on making your own sport toys, glow-in-the-dark toys for the backyard, and I was using glow-in-the-dark paint, which looks clear unless you go outside. And then I came down to my studio before I turned on any lights on a few minutes ago, and I realized I had it all over my arm, and I couldn't see it, but my arm was glowing. It was really funny. Okay, so now with some soft rubber tools, I keep all my soft stuff in here. You don't want to use anything hard and scratchy. I am going to just kind of make some spirals, kind of inspired by Van Gogh and Starry Night. Maybe make a big cypress tree. And I can go and I can paint that if I want to. Maybe I will. But I just love those swirls that he would have in his artwork. Love that Doctor Who episode when they go back and they meet Van Gogh. Isn't that awesome? And instead of taking green from a tube, I'm actually going to mix up a little bit and put it on with a paintbrush. Ooh la la, fancy. Artsy fartsy here. Artsy fartsy painting on a panel. This is very exciting, isn't it? Very exciting as I run across the room to find a simple paintbrush. Any paintbrush I think will be just fine. So I'm going to paint in a little tree. Happy little trees. I love Bob Ross. Let me just put that. Let me put a little to ground it down there. You do something to one part of a card or painting or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what kind of artwork it is. You do something to one part, do it to another part. That will harmonize it, make it tie in. So now I'll put my more swirly lines up there. I have no idea really how this is going to turn out, but I'm hoping that it will look something like, dab in some yellow, something like Starry Night, at least have that impression. And always cap up your paint when you're not using it so it doesn't dry out. Okay, maybe just some swirly lines down here. Alright, let's pull that print, see what it looks like, shall we? It's going to be a surprise, even for me. I'm glad I didn't paint my nails before I started this, because they would be trashed right now. Alright, oh, this is kind of cool. And there we have our little art print. So there you have it, printing from stuff you normally throw away. I know everyone can do this, I hope, unless you live somewhere where there's no styrofoam, and then good on you. You live in an awesome place if it's a place with no styrofoam, but hey, at least it's a way to use it so you keep it out of the trash. Make your own stamps. You know, you could even make alphabets. You could do whatever you want. Just if you're using the meat trays, let me warn you, if you're working with kids and you're using the meat trays, please wash them out really good with maybe an antibacterial soap before you let the kids use it, because you'd hate for them to get salmonella because they're putting everything in their mouths because you recycled the meat tray. But like the tray mushrooms come in, or veggies sometimes come packed in, or takeout trays, they all work great. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you are inspired to dig through your recycling bin or your trash can to make some art. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.